here we are. And just as maybe sadly expected, uh, instead of news of WrestleMania 3 and Hogan slamming Andre or whatever else they were going to be doing at this point, instead, the biggest news is the debut of DuckTales. A woohoo. I love DuckTales. Maybe my favorite 1980s cartoon. Put your favorite 1980s cartoon in the comments. What was it that was hitting your funny bone if you were lucky enough to be a kid at this point? A golden age of television cartoonery, without question. But what that does mean is that means that WWF is no more, I think. If we go to the company list, yes, where World Wrestling Federation would be listed, they are not here anymore. So, what is the new world looking like then? Who is number one? It is Jim Crockett Promotions are ranked number one in the world. They are the biggest and the best. There's one dominant group in wrestling, and it is the NWA, I guess, spearheaded by Jim Crockett Promotions. So will someone else come and take up that side? I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see where all that talent goes. What's happening to Hogan, Piper, Andre, Savage? At this point, I really don't know. We haven't really heard much about Randy Savage, actually, at this point in the sim. So, actually, really out of curiosity, really quickly, let's see what is happening with Randy Savage. Where is he at? Is he around? Randy Savage is here. If I view profile, we find out that Randy Savage is he is available to work, but he's not signed with anybody right now. Based in the Southeast, he had been hired by World Class, but he had been previously injured, as we can see, and he is, since then he's been sort of waiting his time. He hasn't had a match since. I say clicking on the thing. He hasn't had a match since, he's in March, so he's done some stuff for the AWA. It must be on handshake deals. But we see Harley Race and Big John Studd. So maybe that's where we're going to see, maybe the AWA. That's where Jimmy Snuka is right now. So yeah, maybe that's what's going to happen now. Maybe we're going to see Randy Savage moving down that. Not as Randy Savage, but members of the WWF make their way towards the AWA. Wouldn't that be a reversal of fortunes? So, if we take a look at our guy, if we take a look at Magnum T.A, let's see what's going on there. Here we go, Magnum T.A. Currently, still, this is available to work. He's on the roster here. Obviously, let's look at his match history, shall we? And see that he is working. It looks like he's working on top. Magnum T.A defeating Tully Blanchard, King Kong Bundy. He's actually just lost the NWA World Tag Team titles to Dusty Rhodes and Manny Fernandez. So there's a tag team. So there we go. So up near the top of the card, hopefully being groomed again for that World Championship run. So what's going to happen now is, he says, I think I'm going to see if I can find what the events are here, because if we do a Great American Bash, it says every Sunday, week 3 of July. So hopefully that means that we're going to have one next. I'm going to try and jump there now. If we're not going to have WrestleMania, we're not going to have the WWF stuff, I'm going to have to find benchmarks within the NWA calendar instead. So let's start by looking at the Great American Bash. We'll go to week 4.
All right, so now we are in July. Let's take a look now and see where we're at with the Great American Bash, shall we? So the Great American Bash, let's have a look at this. Bob Orton Jr. was the star of the show. Whoa, Bob Orton Jr., someone's jumped. So main event, Rhodes and Fernandez defeated Double Life to retain the World Tag Team titles. Not a great card here. Khrushchev, Sam Houston is our boy. Magnum, Carlos Colon, Magnum T.A, and Siva Afi defeated Tom Pritchard of the Power Connection. Not exactly what we were going for here for Magnum T.A, but he's just Biden getting main event all the time. Look at the Inner Circle. That's a bit early, I think. Defeated Partners in Crime to retain the NWA National Tag Team titles. That'll be interesting to see what exactly that consists of. Let's have a look at JCP overall and see what's occurring. We've got, here we go, JCP. Still the number one in the world. Still number one in the world. Tons of money. Tons of money. So let's have a look here, shall we? Bob Orton Jr., look at that, near the top of the card. He's a major star, as is Magnum T.A., as is Tully Blanchard. So there we go. Bob Orton Jr., not necessarily what I was looking for there, but I was looking for who is the, I'm trying to remember now, who was the champion when we last left things off? Oh, for you, it's been just a couple seconds. For me, it's been a while. Let's look first here. The United States Heavyweight title, Crusher Khrushchev. The six-man tag titles held by Rotunda, Rhodes, and Fernandez. I don't think anything's changed there. The World Tag Team titles, Dusty Rhodes and Manny Fernandez. Oh, lots of tag gold there. And the television champion is Carlos Colon. So let's go back now and see if we can find the national. If we go to Magnum T.A., I think we can look at his match history from there. I'm hoping it's going to come up. There it is. So we go there. We go title history. We remember that he had it from November of 1986. Oh, I can't remember who had it. That's rough. I remember, who was it? Was it Tully? It wasn't Tully. Was it Bruiser? I forget. Let's have a quick look here and see if I can recall. I do apologize. It's been like 6 hours for me since this has occurred. If I go back to 1986 and look at title matches, I can see that he lost to Terry Gordy. So that is who I thought was there. So that's all right. So if I now go Terry Gordy. There we go. Quick jump to him. And we go title history. He's lost the championship, obviously, here at some point. What's happened here? Lots of championship opportunities for the man here. Looking for the NWA World Heavyweight, which he held until June. 26 defenses. Let's take a look at his match history. We can see the man in all of sports entertainment is Kerry Von Erich. Kerry Von Erich. That isn't too bad whatsoever. So Kerry Von Erich defeated Terry Gordy to retain. Oh, to retain. Where are we at here? We're not defeated to... Why do you say retain? Terry Gordy defeated Magnum T.A. to retain the title. And then Kerry Von... Oh, it's American heavyweight title. Oh, my word. So many titles. I'm looking for the world. Terry Gordy defeated Sika. Terry Gordy defeated Magnum T.A. Terry Gordy defeated... Kendo Nagasaki, there it is. Kendo Nagasaki defeated Terry Gordy for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, not Kerry Von Erich. So let's try Kendo Nagasaki. There we are. Quick jump here. Are you still the champion of the world? You are still the champion of the world. So there we go. Who's he signed with? EMLL, JCP, so a little bit all over the place. But match history, 22 years of experience. He's British. Kendo Nagasaki defeated Cien Caras to retain the. So, yeah, it feels like a little less high profile on where that should be. So, there is the Great American Bash. Next, we know we got to take a look and see where are things going with where things are going to look at going into Starrcade. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to jump ahead to Starrcade, and we're going to catch you on the flip side of that. And we're back. It is Starrcade 1987. Magnum T.A., star of the show. We pop and take a look here. We find out that Magnum T.A. was in the... He must be one of these tag teams. I got to be thinking. Not that one. That's one of these tag teams. I don't see him. Oh, here he is. Jerry Oates, Magnum T.A., and Carlos Colon defeated Dory Funk Jr. in the Power Connection. A six-man tag is what you got him doing currently. A six-man tag. But that is where we are at with that. We have the Long Riders still our tag team titles. I think that's probably Dusty. And is that Manny Fernandez, if memory serves? Probably. A United States Heavyweight Championship, Jim Neidhart. So we do see some other movement coming over from the WWF. King Kong Bundy, the Filthy Scum. And that's really looks like it's about it. If we go to the roster itself, those are individual people. Let's take a look at the roster, shall we? Loading, there we are. We've got, of course, Jim Crockett Promotions, still #1 in the world. Top of the roster list, we got Magnum T.A. They're all in. They're all in with him. He's going to be the guy for a long, long time. How long? We're going to find out here. We're absolutely going to find out. He's only 28. He's only 28. He's going to be top 5 in the world this year. We're going to jump ahead, and we're going to see just where that is. As one thing we're going to look at in the meantime is we are going to look and see. It was Terry Gordy was the champion, and I've already forgotten who it was on the other side of that. Was it Nagasaki? I want to think it was Nagasaki. Let's take a look. Kendo Nagasaki, that feels right. Still the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Look at that. Look at that. Match history. Is he defending it on a regular basis? Thanks. Hasn't done it since, well, Thanksgiving Star Wars. That would be last week. So there we go. Lots of opportunities against Kevin Von Erich, against Bob Orton Jr., against Carlos Colon. So there we are. But can't defeat Tony St. Clair for the JP UK British Heavyweight title. So there's a mixture of stuff here. But that is where that title currently sits. We're going to look just one more time. We're going to go ahead to 1988. And that will give us... Well, give us a year here. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look there, and we'll see where Magnum sits at the end of the year's PWI index. All right, and we're in 1988 to find out that Terry Funk is PWI number 1. They've totally changed this menu. That's a cool feature I didn't know was here. So let's take a look at some of these things here. So we've got Terry Funk is the wrestler of the year. New Japan Pro Wrestling is the company of the year. 2 years in the trot, I believe. Team of the year is Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody. Match of the year goes to Magnum T.A. over Tully Blanchard. Show of the year, New Japan Pro Wrestling Battle Formation Young Wrestler goes to Sam Houston. I don't think he's going to turn into... what's your favorite Sam Houston match? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. Antonio Inoki, Veteran Wrestler of the Year. Female Wrestler of the Year is Chigasa Nagayo. Most Improved Company, that doesn't really matter. Independent Wrestler of the Year, Kerry Von Erich. Manager of the Year, again, Nick Bockwinkel. Announcer of the Year, once again, Ichiro Furutachi. And Color Commentator of the Year, Joel Watts. Wasn't expecting that. Was not expecting that. Let's take a look at the companies where they sit at this time. And again, we're going to look at Jim Crockett Promotions, the number 1 company in the world. Bob Orton Jr. seems to maybe have supplanted Magnum T.A. as the biggest star in the company, although Magnum T.A. is still the figurehead and the major star. So we shall see. Let's take a look at the roster, shall we, and see if Magnum T.A. can give us what we need to know. And here we go. Magnum T.A. White hot momentum. White hot. Here we go. No titles, but doing well. 28 years old. The world is his oyster. Definitely a big, big deal. Where is he in the 500? We'll find out soon enough. Let's go back to the companies here, and we'll look at the titles. Who does hold them here? We've got Jim Neidhart still holding the U.S. title. The 6-man title, Tommy Rich, Eddie Gilbert, Jerry Oates. The World Tag Team titles, Ron Bass and Black Bart. The Cowboys back riding in the saddle again. And we've got, for the World Television, Tito Santana making the jump from the WWF. Let's take a little at the American Wrestling Association. Who's he? Hulk Hogan returns home. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And look at them, already in the red. Already in the red. Vern Gagne owns it. Booker, Bob Backlund, Big John Studd. Sorry, they've purchased all the WWE guys. WWF guys, sorry. Randy Savage here in the AWA. Kurt Hennig here in the AWA. So that is very interesting. They're going to have to try and pull that one out. Very curious what their situation is. Titles. Kurt Hennig is their international television champion. Their world heavyweight champion. Lanny Poffo Light heavyweight to Brad Batten. Tag team, Steve Kern and Stan Lane. And women's title, Lucy Fly. Very surprised to see Lanny Poffo. Surely there's a world in which Hulk Hogan's going to find himself over there before too long. Fifth in the world. All right, very interesting. Let's go ahead and look at the... let's see who's still doing the NWA World Television. Sorry, not World Television, World's Heavyweight Championship. If I look at the Rock, Kendo Nagasaki was the man. Let's see if he still is the man. Big Daddy. Old school British wrestling fans know Big Daddy. Let's take a look here. He is still the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Match history, is he still defending it prominently and often? He did it just towards the end here. He's doing EMLL, NWA. Carlos Colon, Cien Carras. Spinner McKenzie's not for that title. Terry Funk. You can't do much when you're facing the Funker, really. So, interesting. I was not expecting a Kendo Nagasaki run to run this long. But that is that. Let's take a look at the PWI 500 before we break. PWI 500. And before we break, I'm 1 year into a 2 year cycle, so we're not breaking anytime soon. Let's take a look at the home screen, and from there go to the PWI 500. Booyah. And number 1 is Terry Funk. Number 2, Roddy Piper, down from 1. He's doing fine. Stenson Tatsumi Fujinami, NWA's World Heavyweight Champion at one point. Then we've got Magnum T.A. up from 9 to 6. Look at that. Ric Flair, 7. Ric Flair, 7. Not working a lot of matches, though, is the problem. That's all he worked, as we can see, in 1987. That's going to cause problems. Hulk Hogan, no idea where Hulk Hogan is. No idea where Andre the Giant is. It's a long way down. A long, long way down. So, oh, there is Hulk Hogan. I saw him right at the bottom there. Number 90, down from number 3. He's going to have to, he's been working since, is that August? Has he done a little bit before that? He's with WWF, and then it was a break until about April. So, yeah, he's doing okay. He's definitely being booked strong, that's for sure. But, yeah, very curious where some of the other ones end up here. Is the AWA. Let me look at Jim Neidhart ahead of him. Insane. Jake Roberts. Jim Duggan in the top 20. Well, close to top 20. Bob Orton Jr., 13th. Bob Orton Jr., 13th. Kerry Von Erich, 10th. Working for Mid-South. Ricky Steamboat, number 5. Yeah, he's not worth a ton, though, in the year, but there we go. So that's where we're going to leave things in at least the beginning of 1987. So 87 into 88 coming right up. Let's go ahead and see where this takes us. All right, and here we are here in July 1988, the Great American Bash. Tully Blanchard, the performance of the show. What do we have here? Tully Blanchard defeats Magnum T.A., our boy, to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So, good. Like, Magnum's at the top of the card. This is what we're hoping for. WWF is out of business. Magnum is he look at him. He's 29. He's hanging with Tully. Tully must be, I don't know, a good 10 years older than he is. 7 years older, 36. So Tully's doing all right. He is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. How long has he been that for? He's in his second reign. He must have defeated Nagasaki, I'm thinking. Let's take a look at his match history, shall we? We'll go only for title matches here, and we will see that Tully Blanchard to retain. That was in July. Where does he come on with this? Defeated Kendo Nagasaki for the NWA World Heavyweight title and has been defending it against Magnum T.A. on a regular basis around the country, as well as Tito Santana. Those are the two main guys there. So that's very interesting. Let's take a look quickly now at JCP and see kind of what they're up to. JCP right here, Jim Crockett Promotions. Bob Orton Jr. is listed as the top guy here on the roster as far as that goes. But We see Magnum, we see Tully. Bobby Heenan's made his way to JCP. That's very interesting. Road Warrior Animal is here. Sergeant Slaughter is here. Jim Neidhart, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Tony Schiavone is here. Very interesting stuff. Anybody on the bottom side here who's really that interesting? Not really. Not really. Let's take a look. They're still number one in the world. Lots of money. Let's take a look at the American Wrestling Association, the AWA. Still losing money. Let's take a look at what we've got here. Any more of the big boys made their way over to this side of things? Not really. Not really. In fact, I can't see Randy Savage. Oh, he's there. Rick Rude is here, so that's interesting enough. What will his situation be in a WWF-less world? Outside of that, nothing really surprising. There's the title situation there. Masa Saito is the international television champion. The light heavyweight champions, Gary Royal. The tag team champions are Wisnowski and Stone. The women's is Adore, but the world heavyweight champion is Lanny Poffo still. Still not Hogan. I'm really surprised they're not actually sort of pulling the trigger on that side. We can see the AWA has risen to medium size. So they are on the rise. They're the fifth in the world. We can see the JCP are the big and the number one in the world. Is there anybody else who's shown up in order to try and change that? World Class is sixth. I'm looking to see if anybody interesting has gone there. We see Terry Gordy. We see One Man Gang. We see Savage. I guess he must be working for both companies. We see Jake Roberts. We see Buddy Rose. So a big three kind of been left behind now in the United States. I haven't really paid much attention to Mid-South, and maybe I should be, because Mid-South is second in the world now. And its world title, well, it's the same. It's NWA, so their North American titles, Kerry Von Erich. Their tag teams, Armstrong and Horner. And then we've got Mike Rotunda as their television champion. Who do we see? We see a lot of crossover here. A lot of crossover. We see Jerry Lawler. We see Jimmy Garvin. We see Kerry and Kevin Von Erich. And, of course, we see Roddy Piper. So that's a very interesting situation over there. Just curious about New Japan. Are there any North American wrestlers who have made their way over there? We see Stan Hansen. We see Ted DiBiase. We see Ric Flair. We see Rick Martel. So it'd be interesting to see if Flair makes his way back over into North America. Right now, wrestling primarily in Japan. Just out of curiosity, they're title holders. The IWGP heavyweight champion, Sakaguchi. We've got junior heavyweight champion, tag team. Just looking for any interesting names here. Not really. So what we're going to do now is going to jump ahead to Starrcade, of course. And we're going to see what that brings, and so on and so forth. So give it a moment, and we'll catch back up. And we are now at Starrcade. 13,000 fans. Paul Orndorff, the performance of the show. And the main event was Tully Blanchard defeating Bob Orton Jr. in a cage match. But Magnum T.A. in the match of the night, defeating Paul Orndorff, second from the top. He's just waiting for his turn. When is it going to happen? When is the belt getting put on him for an extended run? We see Carlos Colon retain the United States Championship. We see that Rhodes and Fernandez defeated Team Millen to retain their tag team titles. Have they had that for a long time? Or is this a second run? I don't know. So we take a look there. Let's have a look at the promotion itself, shall we? So we look at JCP, and we've got, it's the first in the world. They're rolling in money. They're going to go global. It's going to happen. The biggest star, still Roddy Piper, then Magnum T.A., according to the roster list at least. But we can see title history. What has he had going for him? He's had the one micro run in late 86 that we saw. But he had a tag team run with Dory Funk Jr. as well. It's time to just push him to the moon. What does that mean, though, in a system where you've got the NWA World Championship kind of being spread around? I don't know. But it does feel that he needs to be the centerpiece at this point. Let's take a look at some of the other ones, shall we? Let's look at the American Wrestling Association, where we've got Hulk Hogan's the figurehead, back with the AWA. The money's still in the red. Can they turn that around? I don't know, but what's their title situation looking like? I want to know. John Nord, the Viking, the Berserker. Huss. Write down your favorite Berserker match in the comments, shall you? Light heavyweight champion Gary Royal, the tag team title, the Poffo brothers, Randy Savage in the AWA alongside Lanny Poffo. And the women's title is being held by the Killer Tomato, something I was not aware. I've never heard of that young lady. So there we go. And then World Class Championship Wrestling, let's just look at their titles, shall we? We have the One Man Gang as the American Heavyweight, the tag team is Billy Jack Haynes and Brad Armstrong. Dory Funk Jr. is the Brass Knuckles champion. There's something. Texas Heavyweight champion Terry Daniels. Bob Sweeten and some Billy Jack Haynes, Mike Von Erich, and Brian Arias. Yeah, they're ranked 6th in the world. Oz World Championship, we've got Mid-South ranked 2nd, of course. And if we just look quickly at theirs, Dutch Mantel, Brad Armstrong, Tim Horner, and Mike Rotunda. And we're about to go ahead and push forward all the way to 1980, as long as I can remember for the life of me, who is the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm just taking a look here. Is it Tully? Am I remembering correctly? Yes, Tully still is the World Heavyweight Champion. Huzzah there. He's held it since March, so he's had a nice long run with it. Will he still be there at the... We're going to go ahead. We're going to put a bow on this one in January of 89. Let's go ahead and push it to January of 1989, and let's see where that heads. And we are back. It is 1989, January 1st, 1989. And as we can clearly see, Magnum T.A. has been given the Power 500 #1 rating for the first time ever. So, everything we said off the top about who this guy could have been, should have been, would have been, seems to be coming true. In a world where everything else seems to be burning to the ground, Magnum T.A. is showing. I mean, I read a book once by Stephen King that said the past doesn't like to be changed. And it seems to be what's happening, because we've changed it by stopping Magnum T.A. from getting in that car wreck, and everything else is crashing maybe as a result. Well, at least the WWF. What else is occurring as a result? Company of the Year, JCP. Second time hitting that mark. First time since the first year, I think, 1986. Team of the Year, Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody. I think that was also 1986. Everything old is new again. Match of the Year, Ricky Steamboat and Antonio Inoki defeating Akira Maeda and Ric Flair. That sounds like it would be an excellent match. Show of the Year goes to Mid-South. Young wrestler, He-Man. There's some kinks in the system, I think. Veteran Wrestler of the Year, again, Antonio Inoki, this time for the third time. Female Wrestler of the Year, Shigusa Nagayo. Most Improved Company was the AWA, and of course they did. They're just becoming WWF West. Independent Wrestler of the Year, Jerry Lawler. I love that. Unsurprisingly has gone to Jerry Lawler. Well, is it? I don't know. Manager of the Year, Nick Bockwinkel. Third time on the trot. Announcer of the Year, Ichiro Furutachi, 3 times so far. And color commentator, Bobby Heenan. And I do like that when this game is, as you go through eras, they do change the picture. So we don't have the same picture of Bobby we did earlier when he was winning his stuff. So let's take a look really quickly at the Power 500. We'll look at some of the key names. Actually, before we do that, we'll go to the companies here. We'll look at some of their stuff. Let's start with JCP, the biggest company in the world. So much money, still rated big. George Scott, it says, extends deal with JCP. So George Scott, the former booker for the WWF, now on staff at Jim Crockett Promotions. Let's take a look here at the titles. We've got The United States Heavyweight Championship still sitting with Carlos Colon. The six-man titles, Greg Valentine, Nikolai Volkov, and Ivan Koloff. There's a bit of a ragtag group of mid-'80s kind of heavyweights, kind of on the wrong side as we come down and towards the 90s. Tag team champions, Dusty Rhodes and Manny Fernandez, who have been going for 200 days as champs, almost 50 successful title defenses. And the television champion, Tito Santana, 4 successful title reigns over 69 days. Not a very fighting television champion, must be said. Let's take a quick look then at, let's do the AWA. And we can see that Bob Backlund is now with the AWA again. So there is that. Let's look at their titles then. We've got the international television champion is Invader #1. Gary Royal, the light heavyweight. The tag team still the Poffo Boys. The women's to the Killer Tomato. And the world heavyweight still Huss. It's John Nord, the Berserker, the Viking himself. Probably one of those wrestlers that even in my younger state, I went, this is too silly. Even for the WWE. It's the Viking, the Berserker, doink. These are the sort of things that made me kind of grow away from it. And as you can see, I'm doing this, so I must be an absolute diehard pro wrestling fan. But, I didn't understand how a man that big needed to be that silly. And that was me at like 9, 10, 11 years of age thinking that. So there we are. Let's take a look then at the PWI 500, the Power 500. I'll get it right one of these days. And we can see Magnum T.A. from number 6 to number 1. Worked a lot of matches. Has he been protected? I don't know. He's winning about 60% of his matches, maybe 66% of his matches. No, less than that. So Roddy Piper, number 3, quite interesting. We've got, I'm curious to see where Hogan ended up, because Hogan was way down the charts previously. And he still is way down the charts. I would have thought Hogan would have managed to find his way up here, but this is not occurring. I'm just taking a look. Bret Hart, that pains me. Bret Hart, 95, up from 173. He's working for Mid-South now. Maybe that means Bret Hart's gonna begin, because we're coming on WrestleMania 4. I mean, we're not at Bret's breakout time yet, but it still is concerning. Davey Boy, 104 up from 134. Maybe in this alternate world, who knows? John Studd, 121. I mean, he's really been hampered. But where is Hogan? I got Owen Hart at 129 on 2 wins and 39 losses. But have I just skipped over Hogan? Is that what has occurred here? Can I search in this function here? I don't know. Is there a name? I don't really think I can search that way. So let's see if I can find Hogan. If I do HU, okay. No, it's not going to work like that. Oh, this is disappointing. Lenny Poffo, John Nord. Oh, wow. The AWA is being punished. They do not. 148. Hulk Hogan down from 90. And he's just not, either the storytelling's not there or something, but he's just not telling. The matches aren't there. The product's not there. That is a shame. But I'll tell you what's not a shame, and that is our boy, Magnum T.A. Number 1, we have rewritten history. We have broken the status quo. Are we in the darkest timeline? Are we in the greatest timeline? I don't know. But I do know that he's number 1, and that's where we're going to put a bow on it this time. So episode 2 finishes Magnum T.A., the number 1 wrestler in the business, maybe short of the accolades that deserves. The next 2 years will be pivotal as Magnum hits his age 30 kind of year. So where's he going to go with that as a result? We only can find out in future episodes. So go ahead and join us back here. If you like this, again, like, share, and subscribe. All those usual YouTube cliches, but it keeps it going. It also lets me know that people are watching this, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Who should I be focusing on next? That's my question now. We can see what he's doing, what Magnum's doing here, but who should my next focus be on? should I go older? Should I go even more new? Even more new, like that's saying something. Should I go even older? Should I go closer to modern day? What is that next time in the Smart Mark time machine? How should we fix or break time itself? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip.